Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Evolution becomes revolution. After the whatever this is Tim Burton film, decided to reboot the franchise yet again, but now a little more complicated by being both a kind of reboot but also prequel to the original films. The film begins with our normal Planet of the Apes chase, but this time it's the apes being captured. Well, some of them. Sometime later, one of them's showing intelligence, and the doctors are thrilled, especially one played by James Franco. In that weird era where everyone liked him and he was in everything. And clearly because one ape shows intelligence, this drug is good enough for human testing. That's stupid. You kinda need a control group of multiple. ALZ-112 purpose is to try and heal brain cells so people can cure Alzheimer's. It also gives you green eyes. It explains me. And a reference to the original because they call their ape Bright Eyes. They want to show off Bright Eyes, but oh no, 7 minutes in and the revolution begins. Or not. Well, because one ape messed up, we're ending this whole project and everyone's getting blamed for it, like in public school. But dope, it turns out that Bright Eyes was just having a kid, and that's why she was feral. Whoops. So James Franco takes the ape, and it turns out he's doing all this because his dad has Alzheimer's, and names the ape Caesar. 3 years later, and Caesar's doing great. Dad isn't. Instead of putting him in a home because he's becoming a burden, they're gonna steal some drugs and experiment on him. Well, I know, the 12 stuff works wonders on him. But Caesar gets out and messes with the neighbor. So they take Caesar to the vet, Carolyn. And Carolyn and James Franco hit it off so well they decide to take Caesar to the Redwoods, which are near the Golden Gate Bridge. That is not accurate. It takes Caesar 5 years to climb this one redwood tree. That is accurate. Now the biggest damn 8-year-old chimp ever, Caesar is getting all moody. He doesn't want to sit in the trunk, he wants to sit in the back seat like a big boy. He also starts getting curious about his history, and James Franco explains it in case you forgot from the beginning of the film, which makes Caesar a little upset. Meanwhile, the drugs are starting to not work on Dad, and he starts accidentally stealing cars, which the neighbor man is not too happy about. But Caesar sees this and hops to the rescue, but he gets captured by the Popo. James Franco can't really do much, so Caesar's gotta stay in the ape sanctuary, which is basically prison. And the warden's Draco Malfoy with a cattle prod. Some tributes to the original. Franco's being upset about his dad, because his immune system's completely rejecting it, so he decides to modify it. Even though there's, ways to slow down your immune system so the drugs would work better in the first place, but whatever. So Koba, you're up for the experiment. And they went from injection to aerosol. And we accidentally get our human trial with Franklin. It's working absolute wonders on Koba, but Frank is starting to sneeze blood and he keeps that to himself. Caesar's upset until he meets Maurice, their orangutan, and he knows sign language too. Unfortunately, I don't, and they do not provide subtitles. I can sort of understand what they mean, I guess, but, provide subtitles, dude. One visit by Franco, and Caesar's planning a way to bust out of this mother. He steals a pocket knife, somehow fashions a lockpick out of it, and gains the trust of the gorillas. Meanwhile, Franco wants to experiment on his dad with a 13 variant he somehow stole despite being way bigger than the 12. But Dad's like, nah, blood, I'm good, and he pieces out from this world. Meanwhile, Frank is trying to get in, and he sneezes all over Neighborman, should have worn a mask. Franco finally tries to get Caesar out of jail. He's like, nah, blood, I got this. As him and Maurice are coming up with a plan, and I guess you have to just interpret it if you don't know sign language like me. So that night, Caesar breaks out. He sneaks back home and sees Franco. He takes some 13 he would have never known was there. And somehow Franco stole 3 of these. Then Caesar heads back to the sanctuary and gasses everyone. Meanwhile, Frank has finally succumbed to 13. Next day, Draco's tormenting everyone, so him and Caesar get into a fight.
Take your stinking paw off me, you damn dirty ape!
He said the thing.
No!
Caesar learned English to say the thing. Caesar winning this frees the apes and stuffs the humans back in the cages. Then he turns the hoses on Draco, which electrocutes him with the cow prod. Even though those are low voltage, I'm not sure if that would actually work, but whatever. The revolution is alive! After posing coolly, they free the apes at the lab, and then they head to the zoo, arming themselves with spears made out of fence. Posing coolly, they then take the bridge. Gaining position in all directions, the humans send a cavalry charge. But Gorilla, so he wins. But Caesar stops him before he crushes him. But then the guerrillas tip over a bus for defense. As now Caesar has the cavalry and they launch their attack. But oh no, the humans have air support. So they throw a gorilla at him. A helicopter goes down, sadly does the gorilla too. Kobo tips the helicopter over with the doctor guy inside. Franco's like, what? But Caesar saves him from being jumped by Koba, and Franco wants to take him home, but Caesar says Caesar is home. As the apes take to the redwoods. And it turns out neighbor guy is a pilot and he spreads Rona to everyone. This is a pretty good reboot and it even stands on its own compared to the original. All the apes are CGI in this, but they look absolutely amazing. I don't know sign language, and it's annoying they didn't provide subtitles, but I really appreciate any media that doesn't need a constant stream of sound, so I really appreciate they did sign language. The action's great, and the acting's really good for the most part. The only real problems is the science is a little suspect. The first half of the film's not as great as the last half, and some characters, like the vet, is basically just not needed. Like, I've only mentioned her once in this video other than right now, and that might tell you how important she is. But overall, this is a solid film. It was able to pay tribute while also standing on its own to the original Planet of the Apes. 7 out of 10. Remember to hit the like button, share with your friends, comment below, and subscribe if you're new.